So today I'm making a few more stocking stuffers. I'm going to make a beeswax salve and I'm going to infuse it with lavender buds, some dried lavender buds. So I'm going to go out and try to forage some lavender buds because I've seen some around, and today is an oddly warm day in December here, so it's sunny and I thought that that would be nice. I'm also going to look for some greenery to decorate the salves with, so some small greenery just to make them look a bit more Christmassy. I'm going to put them in stockings and as little gifts for some friends and family, so I want them to be a bit more festive, so I'll find some greenery for that as well today, hopefully. I'm also going to go to a local thrift shop and try to find some small containers for the salves. I have a few little glass containers that I've just repurposed that I could use here at home, but I would rather use some smaller containers than I have, so I'm going to look in a few thrift shops and see if I can find any. Now you can make salves, of course, with essential oils for scent, but the reason I don't really want to do that for this one is because essential oils aren't super sustainable. They require a ton of plant material in order to make the oil, and so I thought I would try to forage for some lavender and infuse my own oil. It's something I've done before. I've made herbal infused body butters and it seemed to work really well. I learned through doing that you need a lot more plant material than I originally used in that recipe. So I'm going to forage for some lavender and infuse an oil with it and then use that oil to make this salve. If I can't find any lavender, because it's not really the right season to be foraging for it, but if I can't find any, I have some dried lavender at home that I just bought, so I can use that as a backup. But it's fun to go foraging and it's nice to get out and about and outside and get fresh air, so hopefully I can find some and forage it. It's also a nice story because the reason I'm making these salves is as gifts, and it's a nice story to be able to tell whoever I'm giving them to, you know, that the lavender was sourced locally and foraged and that the oil was infused. Lately I've been thinking a lot about the importance of making things again as opposed to buying things, and really trying to cut back on my consumption, my family's consumption. It's so common to be able to go online and buy whatever you need and have it delivered to you instantly, and there's something really nice about the slowness of making things by hand, and I think people appreciate gifts made by hands a lot more these days because it's much more rare. No buds on that one though. Okay, the weather has turned, as it tends to do here in Scotland, and it's raining. I've been to a few thrift shops, but I didn't find anything, so I think I'm going to be using what I have at home. I just don't see anything that will work. And I didn't actually find any lavender with the buds, unfortunately. So I'm gonna keep looking, but I haven't been successful quite yet. I know a spot where I do think there are buds on the lavender, but it's quite far away, so I don't think I'm gonna make it there tonight. I'm gonna try to go out again tomorrow, so I can try my best to source some lavender locally. I'm out again, and hopefully can find some greenery today. I'm less hopeful about the lavender, to be honest. Don't think it's the right time of year at all. think what I'm going to end up doing is taking some of this dried brown greenery instead. I'm going to take some of this grass as well. I think that would look nice. So I wasn't successful at finding lavender, unfortunately. It's just the wrong time of year. So I'll use the dried lavender I have at home. But I did find some dried plant material. It's not green, but it's plant material, which I think is quite beautiful. So I'll add that to the salves. Now the exacting measurements for this can sort of vary because you'll probably use a different size container than me. If you want to copy exactly what I'm doing, there's a link in the description to the blog post with the measurements I'm using, but it's quite forgiving. The main thing is that if you use too much beeswax, your salve will be too hard to use and you'll have to really warm it up with your fingers in order to apply it to your skin. So you want to keep the ratio of shea butter or cocoa butter to beeswax about equal to what I'm using here. But other than that, you can use as much lavender as you want to infuse your oil. You can experiment with it. It's a very forgiving recipe. If you're looking for other handmade, really simple, a lot of foraged ideas for gifts, make sure to check out the free pamphlet that I've made with a bunch of other ideas and recipes for different really natural stocking stuffers that you can make. They're all really simple to make and just kind of unique gifts that you could consider giving people, not only for Christmas, but for birthdays or even make for yourself, of course. So if you're interested in that, there's a link to that free pamphlet in the description below. So to make this salve, the first thing I'm going to do is combine my dried lavender and oil and then simmer it to infuse the oil with lavender. So I'm just using a glass jar that had mayonnaise in from the supermarket. Just washed it and taken the label off as much as I can. And then I'm adding a half cup of dried lavender into the jar. And I'll pour a cup of cold pressed sunflower oil over top of the lavender after I put that in. So I've covered the lavender completely with oil, and now I'm going to put it into a small saucepan and let it simmer for about 20 minutes to infuse the oil with the lavender. So I don't have a double boiler, and I don't really like to use double boilers when infusing oils because sometimes the oils can stick to the double boiler. So I like to use glass containers that I'm not too precious about to do this, but I just put the glass container into a saucepan with some water, and I'll simmer the water for about 20 minutes to infuse the oil. Then I'm gonna add my cocoa butter. You can also use shea butter, and I'm going to add the beeswax as well, and then put everything back in the same glass container and melt it all down on the stovetop by simmering it on a low heat for about half an hour. So I found this little container in the back of my pantry, so I think this would work great for one of the salves. I really like the smell of beeswax, just plain, but it does really smell nice with the lavender added in as well. But it's a beautiful color, and all I'm going to do now is pour it into this little container and let it harden. Now I have lots of the mixture left, so I can make more than one of these, but this is just the one I wanted to show you. So I'm going to let this sit and harden. The salve turned out beautifully. It's so silky smooth, and it smells of lavender and beeswax, which is my favorite scent. Even beyond lavender, I love beeswax. So I hope you enjoy making this salve. I ended up finding some little red berries in our back garden area, so I just picked some of those and added them to the outside of this salve. So I think it looks really beautiful, and I think that they make a nice handmade gift. If you are looking for other handmade gifts, do make sure to download that pamphlet for free in the description below. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you and your loved ones have a happy holiday season. But for now, thank you for stopping by, and I will speak to you in the next Documenting Simple Living video.